Welcome to this DairyNet video tutorial. In this tutorial, the feeding analysis will be explained. In the menu item feeding evaluations are provided. These include the feed alarms, the individual feed report, and the daily concentrate feed amount. Selecting the tile feed alarms opens a list of animals that have deviated from their feed ration of the last 24 hours by a defined factor. The deviation factor is defined as a percentage value. In this list, animals that have a feed alarm can be controlled. To filter the alarms, the period in days and the minimum number of alarms can be set individually. In this example, all animals are displayed that have had at least one food alarm in the last 3 days. The number of alarms, the times of the alarm, and the last feed visit are all displayed. In addition, the table informs for which feed the alarm is triggered. For comparison, it also shows the daily feed consumption for the animal and how much feed the animal already consumed. The last columns of the table, for more detailed analysis purposes, indicate whether the animal also has a milk yield, conductivity, cell count, or cow count alarm. In this example, the animal with the animal number 145 has a conductivity alarm in addition to the feed alarm. This is indicated by the red marking in the corresponding column. For a detailed examination, an animal has to be selected, and afterwards, a graph traces the feed visits of the last 30 days. The zoom in function enables a focused analysis of a specific time period. Using the mouse over function, data of the individual feed visit is displayed in an additional window. This includes the date and time and the amount of feed consumed during that visit. A feed alarm is indicated by a red triangle on the graph of the feed for which an alarm has been triggered. In the mouse over function, the alarming feed amounts are shown in red. For example, the animal with animal number 145 had a feed alarm on June 27, 2021 because it consumed only 0.29 kilograms of concentrate feed. To get comprehensive data, the purpose of alarm analysis, the cattle info page can be opened via the animal list at any time. The cattle info page can be opened by clicking on the blue eye icon in front of the animal number. In the cattle info page and in the core data, the last feed visits can be viewed and the feed control can be set. In the video tutorial on core data, these topics are explained in more detail for the individual animal. The individual feed report can be opened via the menu item Feeding. The individual feed report lists for each animal to be supplied with concentrate how much of each type of feed it has consumed in the milking parlor and/or in feeding stations. In addition to the feed consumption of yesterday, it is also possible to track the feed intake of the last 24 hours or 72 hours. Only animals that provide relevant data for the report, for example for which feed visits or at least feed requirements are available for the defined period, are shown in the feed report. Above the table, additional filters allow further restrictions of the animals to be displayed. For combinations of different filters, only animals that match all selected criteria are displayed. In addition to the barn, milking, and feeding group, it is also possible to filter by animal choice and work lists. In this example, filtering is done according to feeding group Lactation 1. Basically, a distinction is made between the feed consumption in a milking robot and in a feed station. Each animal is presented in a single line containing information on which feed control plan the animal is assigned to during the feed visit, whether an animal feed was set for the animal at that time, in which lactation day the animal is, and what the average daily milk yield was for the last 7 days. In addition to the number of feed visits, the exact requirement consumption, as well as the remaining feed per type of feed for the animal are displayed. In this example, the following feeding data was documented for the animal with the animal number 3 within the last 24 hours. Claim 4.3 kilograms per day. Consumption 3.1 kilograms. Rest 0.69 kilograms. To be able to track the development of concentrate feeding behavior, The remain of total individual ration percent can be used, as this represents the rest of all feed types in relation to the daily requirement. A positive value indicates that the animal consumed less feed than its requirement. Animals with conspicuous feeding behavior can thus be recognized directly. In this example, for the animal with animal number 3, 16% of the individual feed ration is remaining. The value feed in gram per kilogram produced milk describes the efficiency of the consumed feed with regard to milk production displayed in the second to last column. In general, an animal with a lower value is considered to be more efficient. However, other criteria, such as the animal's lactation day, must be included in the actual efficiency. The feed efficiency for the animal with animal number 3 in this example is 103.53 grams per kilogram of milk produced. For a better overview of which row is being analyzed, it can be clicked on and thus highlighted in color. The cattle info page can be called up via the eye icon next to the animal number. The columns in the individual feed report can also be filtered and sorted. For a better overview of all animals with concentrate requirements, the totals or the average values per column are listed in the last line. For example, the feed group lactation 1 had a total requirement of concentrate feed of 204.11 kilograms in the last 24 hours. The daily concentrate feed amount can be called up via the menu item Feeding. This serves to control the amount of concentrate feed consumed. This evaluation provides an overview of the total amount of concentrate feed, as well as an overview of the amount of feed per feeding station or milking box. The graph under the tab Overall Feed Amount shows how much of which concentration feed was dispensed on one day. The display period can be set on the right side above the graphic. Each feed is assigned to a specific color. In addition, you can zoom into a specific slot on the graph by highlighting the desired area. By using the mouse over function at the individual lines, further information on the total feed amount of a feed per day can be called up. This includes the following information: feed visit allowance, consumed in kilograms, feed visits count, consumed at feeding stations, or consumed at feeding parlors. The red vertical line represents a single day and serves as a mapping functionality. Under the tab Feed Amount per Feed Unit, there is a list that provides an overview of the distributed feed amount per feeding station or milking parlor. Above the table, on the right side, there's an option to limit the time period. Each row in the table represents a day, which is displayed in the first column. The table is subdivided into milking parlors and feeding stations. There's also a further subdivision for the individual feeds. Each feed is listed here. This shows how much of which feed was fed at a specific day and the permitted amount, as well as the number of feed visits where the feed was dispensed. Checking or adjusting the feed control is possible for the individual animal in the core data. In addition, the feed amount of the last feed visits can be read there, as well as in the cattle info page. More detailed information on these topics is given in the video tutorial on the core data of the individual animal. This is the end of this video tutorial. For further questions, please contact your local dealer.